And do you want to know what's really shit? Every time you lose your 5 lives, you have to start the whole game again. And nope, there is no way to continue from where you died. You absolutely have to start from the fucking beginning.
You know, that's like when you're eating your Christmas dinner on Christmas Day and you've left a little bit because you're fucking stuffed. Then some bastard comes along and makes you eat the whole meal again because you weren't able to finish it. It's just not fucking right.
You know, it's interesting to see that the Philips CDI is capable of handling save games, but apparently, Christmas Crisis has chosen not to fucking utilize this feature for what reason I don't know. Now think about it. There's so many things that kill you. The lava kills you. If you run out of snowballs, you're forced to kill yourself. And when you try to jump over these cars and obviously make the jump, Santa dies anyway. And look here, I made it to the end of the level and this spaceship guy came along and killed me right at the last moment. That is fucking insane! You're almost guaranteed to fucking die before the whole 24 levels are up. And because you keep having to redo the same first levels over and over again, you never get any practice on the later levels. So, let's say you get stuck on level 9 and you keep dying on that exact same level. That means you're gonna have to redo the first 8 levels before you can retry level 9. And because of this, you're going to become a master of the first 8 levels. You could do the first 8 levels with your fucking eyes closed. But then along comes level 9. You start getting nervous. You really don't want to die, because if you do, you know that you're gonna have to restart this whole shitty game again.
So it all starts to follow a peculiar pattern. You do the first 8 levels, and then you die on the 9th. You redo the first 8 levels, then you die on the 9th. You do the first 8 levels again, and you get stuck on the 9th and die. Then you redo the first 8 levels once more and you die on the 9th one. Once again, you redo the first 8 levels and die on the 9th. Finally, you do the first 8 levels and oh, guess what? You die on the 9th. After this, you get your CDI and you chuck it out the window.
And you know, this could be all sorted if the game simply had a practice mode. I mean, look at Super Monkey Ball. That could have been really annoying if it wasn't for the practice mode. And just to add to that shit pile that this game has already produced, it turns out that there is actually a password system. But you know what? It's rendered fucking useless because of the crappy idea they came up for it. And what was this crappy idea? Well, to achieve a password for a level, you have to rake up a huge score. Like, I'm talking about unbelievably huge. Let's say if this game were Pac-Man, you could have done the first level 50 times without dying, and you still wouldn't have enough points to get a password. You could do it 1,000,000 times without dying, and you still wouldn't have enough fucking points to get the password. That really is how much points it takes just to get a single password. And do you know what's fucked up? There are never enough collectibles in the level to reach the high demand for this password. That means that you have to rely heavily on killing all the enemies to rake up the points. Then you actually have to wait until the enemies respawn and kill them again. And again. And again. But wait. Eventually, you're going to run out of fucking snowballs, so you have to kill yourself to get more.
Again, this starts to follow a rather peculiar pattern. Use up all your snowballs and kill yourself for more. Again, you use up all your snowballs and kill yourself to get more of the fuckers. Then you waste all your snowballs trying to hit the enemies, and you kill yourself to get more of them. You use up all your snowballs again, you kill yourself to get more. Use up all your snowballs, kill yourself for more. Use up all your snowballs, kill yourself for more. Use up all snowballs, kill for more. Use up snowballs, kill for more. After this, in frustration, you pick up your Philips CDI again, and of course you chuck it out the window.
But this just makes you stop and think, wait, what is this all for? A fucking password? Let's look back at any game and think about how they just dished the passwords out for us after we had finished the level. But in Christmas Crisis, it makes you go through a long and overly complicated procedure of killing yourself to get snowballs just so you can achieve more points. And the worst thing is that it never tells you just how many points you need to get the password you're after. So you could have spent over an hour trying to get enough points, but for all you know, that might not be enough. And then to piss you off even more, when you actually do get the password, it's not just simple numbers and letters. Oh no. It's festive things like Christmas presents, candles, and baubles. What you don't realise is that the password only stays on screen for 10 seconds. You have to fucking hurry to write it down. Now we all know the problem with writing things down. You can never find a fucking pen and a piece of paper when you desperately need them. So, while you're searching for them, you could have easily run out of time there and then. But if you're organised and you have a pen and a piece of paper ready, you could still miss the fucking password. It obviously takes a lot longer to write full words like bauble and fairy than it does to write single letters like A and B. And even if you do the password system in a quick doodle form, you still may not have enough time to copy it down. So, they make you work so fucking hard for the password, and then they don't even give you enough time to copy it down. You know, the only reason I was able to get the passwords is because I was recording the game while I was playing it. But obviously, not everyone is going to do that. Oh, and if this whole password thing hadn't already gone a bit too far, it just goes that little bit further. You enter the password at the game's menu screen by clicking the numbers on the Christmas calendar, and then you look at the password you've written down and think, hey, what the fuck happened to the stars and the fairies? Well, it turns out that these stars and fairies are hidden underneath the numbers, so to waste even more of your precious time, the game makes you decode the calendar before you can even enter the password. For example, this password of Reef Fairy Bauble Bauble Fairy Bauble decodes to 25/20, 21/21, 20/21 on the calendar. It's just so fucking tedious. An ideal password system should have a password that's easy to remember and that can be obtained easily. Like FUCKING. There, now that's a password. And you know, another reason why they should have just stuck to the highly superior save feature is because of this message I kept receiving. Your disk may be damaged or dirty. Every time you receive this message, which for me was quite a lot, you have to restart the whole game from scratch. You know, if they would just happily allow us to save the game, do you really think there would be this fucking problem?
Okay, let's just remember that this is Christmas, so why don't we have a look at the best part of the game, as opposed to the thousands of worst parts?
During these parts of the game, you control Santa's sleigh in a 3D sleigh ride adventure. For its time, this was actually very graphically impressive, which is about the only good thing about it. Basically, your objective for this is to move the sleigh left or right to avoid the obstacles ahead of you. The problem with this is that the sleigh moves by itself, and you're really only controlling a camera, which means that you have no idea where you may end up half the time. Like, in this situation here, the sleigh is either going to go through this door or is going to turn left, but you don't have a fucking clue which one it'll be. To avoid these barrels, you have to guess which way the sleigh will go. If you think it's going to go through the door, hold right. If you think it will turn left, hold left. It's a 50% chance of life and death, unless you've played the game so often that you know what's coming. Well, let's reveal which way the sleigh went. Ah, it went left while I was holding left. I got lucky that time. But look at all the odd turns the sleigh makes. Kinda makes me feel nauseous. Then there's another minigame which is supposed to be a letter to Santa, but it's really just a cheap advertisement for the Philips CDI. I mean look, if you take the time to read it, it's really quite pathetic. Dear Santa, for this year's Christmas, I would like to have some CDI games.
Wait a minute. Who wrote that? Who the fuck wrote that? There is no way in hell anyone on earth with a right mind would write that letter. The people working for Philips must have held a gun to their head, tied them to a chair, and forced them to write that letter. Because there is no way in hell anyone would want CDI games for Christmas. I mean, it's like getting a lump of coal in your stocking. It's just shit. Who the fuck gets CDI games for Christmas? Oh me.